Hey guys, welcome back to the Watch Game. Um, wanted to bring you a short Mex musing, particularly something I'm trying to bring to my collection recently, a decision that I've reached in order to dedicate more space in my collection to a single brand. And my strategy is really to get closer to that one particular brand in order to get access to some pieces um, that may not be readily available to the public, particularly on the primary market. So I wanted to know what you guys think about your collecting philosophy. If you know folks, or if you yourself consider yourself a monobrand collector, that is collecting multiple pieces from the same brand, could be Rolex, Omega, Audemars Piguet, what have you, or if you want to share the love, adding different pieces from multiple brands in order to create a strong diversification in your collection.
Oh, you were finished? Oh, well, allow me to retort.
So my buddy Mex really asked an interesting question about building out a collection. He started talking about selling off a couple of pieces to perhaps round out a collection of a particular brand. So we've seen example after example of people building out their collections around a particular brand. We've seen Rolex loyalists, all they'll buy is Rolex. We see some people build their collection around a particular model. I saw some videos around one person and his extensive Speedmaster collection. I even saw another pilot who was really interested in Flightmasters and had, I think, a dozen Flightmasters. And while I think both of those watches are great, that doesn't necessarily define how I think about building out my collection. So how do I think about my collection? It's a really good question. There are some broad points that I consider to be important. I need something to be visually interesting. I tend to focus on complications, in particular chronographs. My collection has quite a few chronographs, both more modern and some vintage. So as I think about my next pieces to add to the collection, I tend to think about those 1960s, 1970s chronographs, and there are some really interesting pieces out there. You can go down the whole Omega line. There are various Speedmasters from that era. You can think about Breitling, Navitimers, and some other really interesting watches that they were making at the time, the Zorro and things like that. Heuer was making some really incredible watches at that time, the Monaco, the Carrera, the Montreal, some really fantastic pieces. And, I recently added a Carrera to my collection from the early 70s. So I don't ever see myself as being a brand loyalist, but I do think then when my watch collecting days are over, that you will see a certain theme throughout them, and they'll probably be more in that complicated chronograph 60s, 70s, and I think that's where you'll see where most of my collection lies. So thanks to my buddy Mex for that interesting question about building out your collection.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
So either way, please let me know in the comments below where you fit in this debate, whether you are a monobrand or multi-brand collector. Look forward to a vibrant discussion in the comments. Thanks and bye-bye.